In the previous video, we saw what is Amazon Web Services. In this video, we are going to create a EC2 instance and log into that EC2 virtual machine from our laptop, basically from my laptop. The prerequisite for that is creation of an AWS account inside aws.amazon.com. You just need to give your credit card information. Initially, 2 rupees will be deducted if you are from India, and later on this 2 rupees will be refunded back. This is just to validate the credit card and the authenticity of our information. So I'll be showing you how we can log into AWS and create a EC2 instance and automatically log in to that particular EC2 instance from the laptop using the SSH command. So let's see how we can do that in this particular video.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss any update from Tech Primers.
This is the AWS management console. You can log into the console when you are in aws.amazon.com. So it by default will show you the login to console option. You can log into the console option. You can notice that there is a sign in to the console. You can log into the console in order to see this particular web page, and you have lots of options. As I mentioned in the previous video, you would have seen lots of different options which I showed from the services. Let's see the major ones in this series. So in this particular video, I'm going to show you how you can create a EC2 instance. In order to create a EC2 instance, we have to go to services and go to this EC2 option. EC2 is nothing but Elastic Computing Cloud. So let me click on this EC2 option. So once you click on the EC2 option, it takes you to a dashboard. So this is the EC2 dashboard where it shows all the different EC2 instances and their regions where they are present. Currently, if you see, there is 0 EC2 instance running in this particular data center. So currently I am in the data center North Virginia and there is nothing here. Sometime back I had created a EC2 instance in another data center and I was just trying out stuff. So I'll just show you that. So if I go to 0 running instances, it shows the, see, if you see here, I had terminated one EC2 instance which is present in a different data center. So this data center is in Ohio. I have now selected North Virginia so that I can show you that you can create different EC2 instances in different data centers and you can individually log into them separately. So let's click on the launch instance. So this launch instance option is going to set up the whole EC2 instance for us. And I wanted a Linux machine to be installed in this particular instance. So basically what I'm doing here now is I'm just buying a machine. So I'm just buying a machine dedicated for our login. So that's what I'm going to do now. In order to do that, you can click on that launch instance option and it will take you to the series of steps. Let's see what are the steps. So we are going to select a image which needs to be installed in that particular server which we are going to buy, and the image is called Amazon machine image, which can be installed in the Amazon infrastructure. So I'm going to use the Ubuntu version. I wanted a Ubuntu server. You have Red Hat server, you have Amazon Linux as well, and there are various other options, for example Windows options as well. So you can even create a EC2 instance which is Windows based, so you can even have Microsoft Windows server there. I now wanted a Ubuntu server, so I'm just selecting this particular option and it is eligible for free. So the next option is the instance type. Now that we have selected what image needs to be installed, basically what OS needs to be installed, now I need to provide what is the memory or the configuration for this particular EC2 instance. I'm going to use the default one for the free tier eligible. So it is going to be 1 GB and one virtual CPU. So I'll be selecting that. If let's say you are buying it or if you are using it in your company, you can go for large or extra large options which has different memory sizes. Based on your need, you can go there. I'm just selecting the micro one, so I just selected that already, and I'm clicking on the next configure instance detail option. So this takes to me to the next step which says configure the number of instances you need. I now need only one instance. If you need more instances, you can just scale it here. I'm just going to say I need only one instance, and not going to change any other option here. So let's not change any other option. If you are having more customized requirements, then you can come here and then assign roles to each and every instance. So right now if you see here, there is no role assigned, so you can create a security group and then you can assign roles to the instances separately. I'm not going to do that now. Let's go to the next option. The next option is choosing the storage. So now we bought a machine, we got the image, so we have mentioned all these. We also mentioned how many instances we wanted. Now we can mention what type of storage we need for that particular machine. So by default it provides a SSD, so I'm just going to say okay, and it provides 8 gig of space. If you want more space, you can just do that. So if you see, free tier eligible customers can get up to 30 gig space or magnetic storage. So I'll just give 8 GB because I don't need much there right now. We are just going to do basic stuff, right? So I'll just keep it as such. You can even add more volumes if you need. You can add more volumes if you require in the same host or the instance. Now let's go to the next option. The next option is adding tags. So these tags are nothing but you can identify EC2 instances based on tags. If you have more EC2 instances in your data center, you can tag these with a name and then you can identify. So you can have different key value pairs which can be provided. I'm just going to use a common one which people use, which is nothing but the name, and I'm going to call it EC2 instance underscore 2 because I already had created one EC2 instance in a different data center which I showed you. Just for my reference, I'm just going to name it as 2 so that I know there is already a different EC2 instance in a different data center. So I'll just say next. Now this shows up the security group. This is how you can control the accessibility for your virtual machine. You can have different types of connections controlled here. So if you had worked on access control routes for your WebSphere or Tomcat or any Spring security based application, you provide security for your application, right? So this is nothing but security for the host. You can provide security at different levels for your host. So there are different types of security rules. You can say I want only SSH traffic to be enabled, or I want only HTTPS traffic to be enabled, or something similar. So you can control the EC2 instances based on these type of security types. I'm just going to say all traffic for now so that we don't have any objection in logging in. You can just enable SSH if you need to log in only to the machine and not do anything else. If you need SSH, HTTP, HTTPS, you can individually do that as well. But in production, people are not suggested to use all traffic, but since this is a demo, I'm just going to use all traffic. The next one is the protocol. By default, it got selected as all because I selected all traffic. The port range is complete. The source could be from a particular IP. We can mention our source IP address. This will enable the connections only from a particular IP address, but I'm just going to mention anywhere so that from anywhere I will be able to log into this particular machine. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'll just select anywhere, and let me give a description for this particular security group. I'll just give all traffic so that I can differentiate and identify what kind of security group this particular EC2 instance has. Let me go to the next option, which is the last and the final reviewing place where you can edit the options which we have selected previously. I can just see what all options we have selected here. I'm just going to say proceed because we just went through this now, right? So this is the important step in the EC2 instance creation where the password is going to be given to us. So this is not a password as such, but this is a key value pair file. So Amazon is going to give you a private key, and we need to use that private key to connect to Amazon every time. So we need to secure this file. I'm just going to ask Amazon to create a new um, key file, and I'll just name it as EC2 instance underscore 2 because that is the name of my EC2 instance. So I'm just going to use a different um, uh, key value pair file. So basically this will generate a key file. So I'll just say download key pair. This will generate a private key and a public key, and the private key will be given to us and the public key will be present inside the Amazon instance. So I have the key downloaded here, so it is present in my downloads option. So I'll show you why and when we will use it. Now the next option is to click on the launch instances. So this launch instances is going to create the whole virtual machine right now in front of us based on the configurations which we provided in these steps. So I'm just clicking on the launch instance option. So this is now creating the instances as we talk, and I can go to this particular option. It says following instance launches have been initiated. Let me click on that and see how the initialization is progressing, and you can notice that the instance state is pending. So basically this is getting created currently as we talk. All the images are getting built, the spaces are getting mounted. So literally a Linux machine or a Linux server is getting built right now with the configurations which we provided. So let's wait for this particular instance to get completed. Meanwhile, what we can do is I think there is no connect option enabled, right? So but I'll just show you what we can do from this UI. So there is an option called actions, and using the actions you can control the instance. So for example, now if you see the instance is up, so you can stop, reboot, terminate, you can do all those stuff here. So this is like literally so I don't want to do anything. So this is like literally killing your Linux machine. So imagine that you have a deployment manager UI and you are going to be able to stop and start Linux servers. That is what this is. You can even terminate the machine and later reinstate it. So terminating the machine will remove all the relevant files which are present inside that particular virtual machine, and when you reinstate it, it will recreate a whole instance with the same configuration which you have provided initially. So right now if you see, the machine is up and we have our instance up and running. Let's try connecting to this particular machine, right? I'll click on the connect option. Once I click on the connect option, I get the steps for connecting to the instance. So the initial step it says is you can use putty to connect to the Amazon server, but I'm not going to use putty. I have by default terminal in my Apple laptop. In OS X I have by default terminal, which is exactly similar to putty. If you are using Windows, I would suggest you to use putty, download putty and then install it, right? And we already have the certificate file downloaded, right? The key file, the private key file, basically. So what Amazon suggests us to do is reduce the permission for this particular file to only us. So we need to restrict the permission for this particular key file. So let's do that, right? I'll just open the terminal. I'll just say EC2 instance and see that I have the file here, right? Yeah, so I have the file here. I need to restrict this particular file to only me. So I'll just say chmod 400 and EC2 instance underscore 2.pem. So I have changed the permission for this particular file, so nobody else except me can access this file. Now in order to connect to this machine which we created, this is the URL for our machine, and in order to connect using SSH, I need to use this command. So basically I'm using the certificate which is present here and I'm connecting to the machine. So I just do ssh-i, provide the private key, and I provide something called Ubuntu at the machine name. So Ubuntu is the default login which is provided for us so that you can log into the Amazon EC2 instance which we created. So it is asking me to say if it is a secure connection. I just say yes. So this is going to log in us into the machine. See that we are logged into the machine, and let me do a clear. So if you see here, this is how we are logged in. So we are logged into Ubuntu username, and the directory which we are in is home/Ubuntu. So we are literally logged into the Amazon server, right? We are logged into the EC2 instance which we have created just now. So let me do a host name. So if you see here, this is how the host name is used. So let's try doing a NS lookup. So I didn't try doing a NS lookup. NS lookup. I'll just do a clear. So it shows an IP address. This is the IP address, and I think the IP address is mentioned here. So I thought it's a different IP address, but looks like the host name comes up with IP address and it is exactly the same, right? So this is the external IP address which we are connecting to. Now let's come back to the console here, right? So if you want to stop this particular machine, you can use the actions and then stop. Meanwhile, let's come back here and you can see that we have access to create files. So I'm just going to say I'm just going to create a file called hello.sh, and let's try running a script file, right? I'm just going to say hello YouTube. So usually we do a hello world, right? So I prefer hello YouTube because YouTube is our primary audience, right? So I'm just going to create that. I'll just give some permission for this particular file. For now, I'll just say 777, and I can run like any other Linux machine. I can run all the commands which I know, and you can see that I just created a script file and then I did a hello world, hello YouTube basically. So this is how you can log into the Amazon EC2 instance and you can create stuff. You can even install lots of middleware components. Like if let's say you want Tomcat, you can install it with the 8 GB space. You can do whatever you want in this particular EC2 instance. And if let's say you terminate this instance, so what happens, right? So let's try stopping this instance. So I'll just go to instance and then stop. So when I stop this instance, the machine gets literally shut down. So if you see here, already we got a message saying connection has been closed, and it just came out. This is because Amazon received a stop connection from our UI and then it has shut down the machine. So basically this is like shutting down your system or the computer, right? So that is what happened. So and if you see here, it is showing as stopping. So let it get completely stopped and let's try restarting again. So whatever file we created, this file should stay there because we just shut down the machine, right? So we did not terminate the machine. Terminating a machine will remove all the files inside that particular instance which was there. But when you do a shutdown and start, it should not delete files in that particular EC2 instance. So let's wait for this guy to shut down completely. Basically stop. Yeah, it is stopped completely. Now let's try starting it again, and then let's try logging in so that we can see what is the state of the server now. You can even use these options which are present here. If you see here, there are status checks, there are monitoring um, options here which can show you what is happening in the server. So right now it's just new server, right? So there is nothing here, but maybe we can see once we have it running for a while. And you can see the tag here. Whatever tags we have added, we can see it here. You can add more number of tags. You can tag it as a particular application name or anything which you need. So these are like variables which we will be using when you want to identify a server. So right now the server is back again, it's showing running. Let's try running it, connecting again with our SSH key. Now it should directly take us to the machine. Clear. So now we are able to connect it. I think we have to use the command every time, so I just say S. So we are able to log in now. Let's see if our file is present here. Yep, we have the same file, and let's try running that. Hello YouTube. Yeah, so our file stays there. Now let's try terminating this particular machine, right? Let's try terminating it and let's see what happens. If you do a reboot, it will just do a stop and start. It's like restarting our mobile, right? So let's try terminating this. I'll just try terminating and let's see what happens after termination, because we had a file created in this machine, right? And let's see what happens to this particular file, whether the particular file stays there or whether it is getting removed. Yeah, the instance now shows as terminated state. If you notice here, we are not able to start the instance, we are not able to stop, neither we are able to do anything. We just can see the system log at max. So what happened there, that's all it shows. I don't think there is anything which is useful for us. It's just showing what happened inside the machine. Yeah, it's just powered down. Now how do we reinstate this machine? So you will have to create a new instance based on a template. We did not create any template, so we will have to create a new instance, which is not ideal, right? So which cannot be done. So we'll have to go to the launch instance option and then select again the new instance and then use it, right? So this is how you can create an EC2 instance, and you can stop and start. So once you terminate a instance, you cannot log into that particular instance and you cannot recover the files. So if you are going to recreate instances every now and then, you can create a template. you can create a launch template, and then you can create that every time. So we can create a common template. You can provide all the details here, and then you can just click a button and the EC2 instances will be created on the fly. So this is how you can use Amazon AWS Management Console to create a EC2 instance and log in from our um, terminal, from our laptop. I hope you found this interesting. Um, in the next video, we will be trying to deploy a web service into the EC2 instance. So we just created a EC2 instance in this particular video. In the next video, we will try to deploy a Spring Boot application into this particular instance which we created. That's it for this particular video. If you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to it. Meet you again in the next video. Thank you very much.